If there is one character in the world of anime known for his godlike memory, it would be AYANOKOJI Kiyotaka. His feats in the White Room go from remembering the position of 45 cards to even recalling events from when he was a newborn. While this kind of level is obviously unrealistic for most of us, there are actually very effective and science-based tools which can skyrocket your memory to a level you yourself could not even believe. More importantly, at the end you will also learn about the dangerous habit which is currently eating away at your memory. Also, big thanks to Brilliant for being today's sponsor. Now, to understand how you can drastically improve your memory, you first have to know what a memory even is. For that, we will need to do a bit of Brain Science 101. Bear with me, as this is also an opportunity to raise your general level of education, and at the end, you will even be able to test how well you were able to remember the information with a short quiz. You are constantly bombarded by physical stimuli, such as the sound waves you're hearing right now. Your nervous system converts all these stimuli into electrical and chemical signals, the language of your brain. However, you're only aware of a small fraction of this sensory information. If you weren't, you'd be overwhelmed by the sheer volume of things happening at any given moment. Here's the key point. Memory is essentially a filter that determines which perceptions will be replayed in the future. But what does that really mean? Memory allows your brain to focus on patterns that are most relevant for future behavior or understanding. For instance, when walking down a crowded street filled with various sights, sounds, and smells, you won't retain every detail. Instead, you might remember a specific conversation, the smell of food from a nearby restaurant, or the blare of a car horn, because your memory has filtered out what it considers less important. This begs the question, how can you make your brain treat the things you want to remember as important? We've all been there countless times. Right before an important exam, we try to cram information, but our brain doesn't always seem to cooperate. Somehow it doesn't recognize the significance of what we're trying to learn, even though we know it matters. So how can we change that? Well, that's exactly what you will learn in the first chapter. You're probably already familiar with the idea that repetition is a key method for creating and strengthening memories. However, repetition alone has its limitations. It often requires a lot of time, and the memories it produces can fade quickly if not reinforced continuously. The good news is that there's a faster, more effective way to form stronger, longer-lasting memories, and it centers around one powerful principle. The emotional state you're in after you experience something dictates how quickly and deeply you learn it. Basically, emotions act like a highlighter for the brain, which marks certain experiences as more relevant than others. So when you experience heightened emotions, whether it's excitement, stress, or surprise, your brain releases chemicals like adrenaline, which signals to the brain, "This is important, pay attention to this." As a result, memories formed during or shortly after these emotional spikes tend to be stronger and more durable. This is why research shows that certain activities like consuming caffeine immediately after studying can be highly beneficial for memory retention. Caffeine triggers the release of adrenaline, which, as mentioned earlier, enhances your brain's ability to encode the information you've just reviewed. Another effective way to stimulate adrenaline right after a learning session is taking a cold shower. Just remember that if you are new to cold exposure, it's essential to ease into it. Start with lukewarm water and gradually lower the temperature over time to avoid shocking your system too much at once. However, while adrenaline plays a significant role in boosting memory, it's just one piece of the puzzle. But before we dive into methods for fundamentally enhancing your memory baseline, let's talk about a straightforward, yet highly effective technique for improving visual memory. I am simply talking about taking a mental snapshot. To do this, direct your full attention to an object, scene, or detail you want to remember. Then, close your eyes briefly, as if you were capturing the image with an invisible camera. This mental exercise helps create a vivid, lasting impression of the visual information in your mind, as it mirrors the way our brain naturally processes and stores visual data. By focusing intently and then mentally snapping a picture, you help your brain encode and retain the details more effectively. It's like giving your brain a cue to lock in the visual information, making it easier to recall later. Additionally, using a real camera to take a photograph can further enhance this effect. Research has shown that the act of taking a photo, when done with mindful attention to the subject, improves memory retention of the image. This happens because the process of framing the shot and concentrating on the details reinforces your cognitive engagement with the scene. Even if you never revisit the photo or delete it from your device, the initial focus and intention behind capturing the image help to solidify the memory in your brain. Okay, while this is great if you need a quick memory boost, what about improving memory in the long run? Is it really possible to raise your ability to memorize things at all times? When aiming to improve your memory baseline, it's essential to grasp a fundamental concept. Memorization primarily involves strengthening specific synapses in the brain, rather than increasing the number of neurons. This means that as you learn and practice new information, your brain enhances the connections between existing neurons. This synaptic strengthening helps create more robust neural pathways, making it easier to access and recall the information over time. The process of memorization typically involves revisiting and rehearsing information, which gradually reinforces these neural connections. This is why techniques like spaced repetition and frequent review are effective. However, there is a notable exception to this general principle: cardiovascular exercise. Regular aerobic exercise not only supports synaptic strengthening, but also promotes neurogenesis, the creation of new neurons. This is particularly significant in the hippocampus, a brain region critical for learning and memory. Cardiovascular exercise increases blood flow, delivering more oxygen and nutrients to the brain, which supports both the growth of new neurons and the maintenance of existing neural connections. So, to fully leverage cardiovascular exercise for memory improvement, aim for approximately 3 hours of low-intensity aerobic activity each week. Activities such as brisk walking, jogging, or cycling are ideal. Also, timing these exercise sessions 1 to 3 hours before engaging in learning activities can further enhance cognitive function and memory consolidation. The increased blood flow during exercise helps prepare your brain for encoding new information, making it easier to retain and recall what you've learned. Okay, in the next chapter, you will finally learn about the dangerous habit that is destroying your memory, which I mentioned at the start. Each of us has an inherent capacity for exceptional memory, yet modern technology has drastically altered how we use and train this ability. With instant access to information via Google and the constant stream of updates from social media, our memory skills are often underutilized and compromised. Also, the overwhelming flow of information from social media platforms leads to information overload, which can severely impact our memory and cognitive functions. To reclaim and enhance your memory, it's essential to take deliberate steps. For one, incorporate meditation. Yes, I know that it sounds bland, but meditation practices, especially those focused on mindfulness, have been shown to lead to increased gray matter density in areas of the brain associated with memory and learning, such as the hippocampus and prefrontal cortex. To practice, find a quiet, comfortable space where you can sit undisturbed. Then, spend just a few minutes each day focusing on your breath and gently bringing your mind back to the present whenever it starts to wander. Other than that, try to reduce your social media usage. The benefits are obvious. By limiting your exposure to constant notifications and updates, you provide your mind with the space it needs to focus and operate more effectively. But what should you do with the extra time on your hands? Well, let me introduce you to today's sponsor, Brilliant. What makes this educational platform special is that it makes learning not just about absorbing information, but actively engaging with it. Brilliant offers thousands of interactive lessons in math, data analysis, programming, and AI, designed to build your understanding from the ground up. So instead of passively watching lectures, you'll get straight to hands-on problem solving and real-world applications. This approach will help you immensely, especially if you want to develop critical thinking skills and become a better problem solver, just like AYANOKOJI Kiyotaka. For example, if you're interested in programming, Brilliant's growing number of courses are an excellent way to build a solid foundation and learn practical skills like building programs from day one with a built-in drag-and-drop editor. So, to try everything Brilliant has to offer for free for a full 30 days, visit brilliant.org/methodicalmind or click on the link in the description. You'll also get 20% off an annual premium subscription. Okay, now it's finally time to see how well you can remember the information you learned about today. What is the primary function of memory according to the explanation given in the video? How does caffeine enhance memory retention after studying? What is the main reason why cardiovascular exercise improves memory?